What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Rue's Reviews, and today we are chatting about Switch by Ben Williams. So let's get into this. Yes, welcome back to the channel. Hello, if you haven't been here before, my name is Rue. I do weird things for a living, including this review channel. And today, as mentioned, we are chatting about Switch, or 5WITCH. Fwitch. I don't know. He's put a 5 where the S should be. That's because there's 5 switches that you learn on this project from Ben Williams. If you don't know who Ben is a magician based here in the UK. I've worked with him a few times at multi-man events for gigs and that kind of thing. He's also an extremely smart consultant. He consults for movies, TVs. I think I consulted with him on an act via a Zoom call a little while back. But every idea that he has, he just brings to fruition in the most beautiful way possible. He first sort of came into my consciousness when I was in my late teens. I think he produced an effect called labelled or relabeled, where a label would go through a bottle. Since then, he's produced so many effects for the magic community. And as I say, Ben is so nice. I saw him at Blackpool this year for a couple of minutes outside. I think he was only there for like a day or two. But I saw him, I was hammered. I do apologise, Ben. Every time I meet Ben, I'm hammered. But I did see him outside the Ruskin, and we had a quick chat, but it's always lovely seeing him. He's always smiling, he's always happy to be and do whatever he's doing. So yes, we need more people like Ben in this industry. And that brings me neatly onto this project. With years of experience, Ben has been putting out effects of his own. And with all that experience, you know, it's so easy to be able to bring out a project just from the comfort of your own home and get it distributed from big companies like Penguin and Murphy's, which this will be. So it's amazing to see that you don't have to be flown halfway across the world and have all these crazy studio lighting things going on when you need to produce a project like this, because the project itself is very straight to the point. There's no fancy things going on, no fancy editing going on. It's just Ben in his kitchen in the tutorial. The tutorial is about an hour and a half, but it's just Ben in the kitchen, and you learn all 5 switches. There's also a bonus switch, I'll get into that in a second, but you learn all 5 switches within the first 15 minutes of the tutorial. So if you didn't want to watch any more of the tutorial, which is an hour and a half, as I said, you don't have to. You could just learn those 5 switches and get on with the rest of your day. But with Ben being Ben, he knows that that is what people want to see. They don't want to be there for a 6-hour, 7-hour tutorial. They just want to know the stuff and get on. Or they can know the stuff and then learn a bit more about how to put it into routines and other things, which is what Ben goes into. Now, even though the name of the project, there's a 5 where the S should be for switch, because there are 5 switches that you learn, in the tutorial he labels them as switch A to D, with the 5th one being switch T. So I don't know why he didn't stay with numbers, but clearly letters made more sense to him at that time. But yeah, switch A to D can all be done in the hands pretty much. There's one that's then on the table, which is switch T, which is the 5th one. And there's also a bonus switch, which you learn halfway through the tutorial, which is a switch which is done on a pack of cards out in the open. Very easy to do, and it makes perfect sense, but it's a nice little bonus addition switch that you learn as well. So, who is this geared towards? Well, if you are a card magician, you've probably played with the mystery card plot before, or an impossible location plot. The easiest time to do a switch is during those kind of routines. If you're a mentalist, you've probably switched out billets to get one ahead or to force an item. Again, all these useful techniques, the more you know, again, it's with everything, within magic and mentalism, the more you build up your repertoire, your arsenal of little tools in your toolbox, the more switches you know, the more options you have when performing. For different scenarios, they require different things. Now, because I'm a reviewer, reviewing only the things that I want to perform in the real world, I should perform these effects for you. So I will try my best. Now, the first 2 switches are the ones that I will perform, because the other 3 require a lot more space than I have here. They require a lot more motion. One of them requires a table. One of them requires a little bit of other setup as well, which I'll get into in a second, but I will show you switch A first. So switch A looks like this. We will use the 3 of diamonds, which I will keep on camera so that you guys know it's in full view. All you have to do is come up, you open up the 3 of diamonds, and in that motion, the card is switched. Now it's time for switch B. I will keep the 3 of diamonds again in full view in front of the camera. All you have to do is come over, open up the card, and in that motion, the card is switched. Switch C is more of it's an offbeat moment. It feels like the card never leaves the person's eye line. It's almost got a top change feel about it. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot more movement that I can do here, that I can't do here, sorry. But with this, it feels like the card never leaves their sight. It's out in the open. As you're gesturing, as you're relaxing, you do the switch and it's seamless. Switch D is kind of like a shuttle pass done with billet. So shuttle pass from coin work or any other work. If any of you have done billet work before, you've probably used a shuttle pass before. However, there's some little additions to this. It almost uses a kind of crossing the gaze kind of feel. There's movement in this, so it feels very, very real. This allows you to move the billet or the card from one hand to the other in a really fair manner. And there is Switch T. Now, this uses a billet on a table. So it's on the table, you push it or flick it forward, and in that moment, the billet changes. With this switch, you do need to prep the gaff a little bit. It feels like there's a little bit more that goes on in this, that if you were to switch a billet, you probably wouldn't want to do all this extra work to get the switch. It's very, very clean. It looks amazing, but there is a little bit of setup that you need on the billet and yourself, which, if you want to look like have something super, super clean, that is how you would do it. However, as a working magician, I probably wouldn't use it how Ben uses it, because he goes through a couple of methods for it as well. There's two ways of being able to do it. One is a little bit more easier to do than the other, but even then it still requires some prep. So for me, I probably wouldn't do Switch T. However, it does look visually stunning. And as I said, there is a bonus switch which is taught a little bit further down the line, where you are able to do the switch in the guise of opening a card on top of a deck of playing cards. Again, it works well in the context of what Ben's teaching. So I'm going to go through the other things that Ben teaches in this, because obviously you learn the switches, but then you want to learn routines to put them into place. The chances are, if you are picking up this project, you already have routines where you use a switch, but what Ben does, being the consummate professional, is teach you everything, the ways that he uses these switches. So he goes straight in with a mystery card plot. So he teaches you his method for a mystery card. As Ben's doing this, he's also teaching you sleights. So things like the Mercury card fold, how he controls the card, all this kind of thing. And then he goes into a This Is Not Your Card, which is a different type of mystery card plot. What Ben has is a red card which says This Is Not Your Card folded up underneath a wine glass. He then has a blue back pack of cards. He gets them to pick one. They sign it, and then at the end, as the mystery card plot unfolds, he then takes the card out, bearing in mind it's a red back. He does a switch, and he's able to ring in their signed card, which also has This Is Not Your Card written on the back. So it looks as if there's a seamless transition from the card that's underneath there, that has a different color back, to a signed card, which looks identical to the one that's underneath that wine glass. Ben also goes into tips on the Mercury card fold. Now, I myself use the Mercury card fold all the time. It's always handy to have someone else's thoughts on it, because I don't use things like the perfect score. I know it's a great, great thing, but I don't use it because I like to have things done on the fly. I like to be able to do it with borrowed decks of cards as well, if they allow me to ruin a card. But it's literally just, Ben going through what he would do. It's always nice having that insight from another working magician. Impossible location. So Ben does an impossible location where the card ends up behind a window, the classic kind of trick, but again, a nice way to be able to put one of those switches into an impossible location routine. There's also a heads and tails. So you can predict using what the toss of a coin 3 times, I think it's 3 times, that a spectator would do with a coin. Now this uses another gimmick, a gimmick which you all will probably know. I'm going to say what it is now because in a minute, he's going to teach you how to make one. It's an index. So you learn how to make an index for cards, so you can predict almost ahead of time what this person is going to do, but super, super simple when you're doing it with a switch. And leading from that, it goes into a which hand, okay? So you're able to do a which hand prediction, again, with a similar index as before, that allows you to have a very clean which hand effect. There is also a billet routine, and in this billet routine, Ben teaches you that additional switch that I told you right at the start, where the card is opened on the deck. Now, Ben says that he isn't really a mentalist, even though he created the effect Anything. If you don't know Anything, it's a brilliant, brilliant mentalism piece. He doesn't do much mentalism, but this is a very, very simple way to get into using billets with your work and getting into switches as well. He then goes into use the force. So this is a way of being able to use a switch to force an item. So if you're going to do a confabulation routine, again, the perfect way to force an item done with a switch. And then from that, he goes into how to build an index. Now, I myself don't really use indexes. The only one that I currently use is Big Blind, Craig Petty's Big Blind, because that has an index as well. I don't really use that many things that have indexes. So this is a super cheap, super simple way to make an index for cards and billets. And Ben teaches you, like breaks it down for you step by step. So that means you can have it in your pocket, ready to go at all times. And then you have Imagination Game. So Imagination Game is a thought of card reveal. So essentially, if any of you remember Patrick Kuhn's, what was it? I forget what it was, but he had an index that came out. Instagram, that was it. So Patrick Kuhn had his Instagram where you can think of a card and pull it out of your phone screen. Again, that used a similar kind of index, but this is what Imagination Game is. And then you have a 50-50 plot. So with this, you have a winner card and a loser card, and they get their chance to be able to exchange cards and switch cards and whatever you like, and whatever it is, you end up with the winner, they end up with the loser, or you can obviously make that seem a little bit better than just I win, you lose, ha ha. There are tips on that. However, that is just the simple breakdown of a 50-50 plot. And then finally, there is a parlor box style routine. So if any of you know things like a maze box or those sort of big switching devices which you can use on stage, so everyone writes something on a card or they sign their name or they do something and they put it into a box, this is Ben's version of that. And so what he has is he has red back cards and he has blue back cards, and he gets somebody to write something on any of these cards, or he gets somebody to pick one of those cards at random. But the idea is by having red back and blue back, you can have two people pick choices, and by using the switches, you're able to get one ahead on these two choices. But also, the box itself is just a plastic see-through box that you might put your packed lunch in. They just dump everything in. There's no sort of sneaky movements because of the way that Ben handles it. There's no switching of billets inside the box. It's very easy to do. If you're looking to get into parlor work with mentalism, if you're not looking to spend a huge amount of money on expensive props, this is a great way to do an Oracle style routine or a one ahead using a box. And that's it really, guys. There's not much more for me to say about this. It's such a simple and direct project. As I say, Ben is a working magician, so he knows what people want to see. He knows to get the bare basics, the bare bones out in the first 15 minutes so that you can go on living your life if you want to, or if you want to stay around and have a bit more fun. He knows that there is a lot more to come in that tutorial. So this project alone, I would highly recommend, because if you're not into being able to do switches with billets or cards, this gives you a great insight into that, and it kind of might inspire you. I've been messing around with Switch A. So Switch A is the one that Ben probably uses the most in the tutorial, and to be fair, it's the one that I've been using the most as well. And I've even come up with my own touches on Switch A, which make it seem really clean, because now, I mean, it's a clean switch anyway, but I like to control the moment of revelation right to the last second so that I know when that impact is going to hit, and I have full control of that moment. And by doing a little adaptation to Switch A, I'm now able to perform that my way. The tutorial, as I say, is sort of filmed in Ben's kitchen. It's not super high quality studio, but it's a lovely kitchen. Well done, Ben. But yeah, just a nice, simple, straight on camera shot. And if you want a fun drinking game, take a drink every time one of Ben's dogs walks through that kitchen, because I was pretty sloshed at the end of that tutorial. But I'm only joking, don't do that. They're very cute dogs. But look, there are creators in our industry which we should be rallying behind. People that are just good, people that create good magic. There's no drama, there's no BS, there's no nothing else. Ben is one of those people. I also think Nicholas Lawrence is one of those people, just super creative people that you can get behind and raise up. And that's what we want more of in our industry. As a working magician, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see drama, I don't want to see anything else. I want to see good creators creating good magic. Well done, Ben. Amazing project. I want to thank Ben for sending this to me, because I've had so much fun playing with it. You guys know what to do. The links are below if you want to pick this up. And if you buy directly from Ben, oh, I totally missed this. If you buy directly from Ben, you get a free bonus trick as well, a free bonus package. Now, this is only through Ben, so if you buy through Murphy's or Penguin, you're not going to be able to get this, but if you buy through Ben directly, you can get an extra bonus trick. I won't go into what that is, but it's there for you. So, like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell for more reviews to come. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next Ruse Reviews. Ciao.